听力训练也是一种修行。接下来的练习，你只可以看到单词和短句的提示，你必须用自己的耳朵听明白整段话的意思。如果没有听懂，你可以反复多听几遍。下面我们开始吧。
Many people are changing their habits, dining out less as prices climb. Now, a new study suggests thousands of restaurants across Canada could close this year after plenty of closures in 2025. CTV's Kimberly Johnson joins us now in studio with more on how businesses here in Ottawa are faring. Kimberly.
Austin, one long-term Ottawa restaurant owner I spoke with says he's doing well, but even he feels the mounting pressure on his industry. Al's Diner has been serving up breakfast for 36 years. Over that time, owner Al Ayub says his industry has seen challenges, and right now is a tough time.
Your bottom line gets smaller and smaller. You want to raise your prices, so you take a chance and scare people away. I'm not one to do that.
He says increasing food prices and wages are his biggest expenses. To keep costs down, Ayub shops around and says owning his building has helped a lot. With plenty of dedicated customers, Al's Diner is not at risk of closing, but a new study suggests thousands of other restaurants could be forced to close this year.
I feel sorry for the ones that can't adapt to it. There's a lot of restaurants out there that are struggling and having a hard time.
A new study from Dalhousie University shows that more than 4,000 restaurants in Canada are projected to close this year. That's after 7,000 bistros, cafes, and eateries shut their doors in 2025.
And what we're seeing right now are consumers under tremendous financial pressure. They're having a hard time buying food at the grocery store, so they're not spending as much time in food service.
Restaurants Canada says other major costs for establishments include rent and insurance. It says 41% of restaurants are operating at a loss or barely breaking even, but are working to keep costs low because they know customers are budgeting. As costs mount, some customers say they plan on making changes.
I probably plan on eating out less. It's gotten really expensive. It's nice to go once in a while, though.
I would say probably about the same, but spending less. Looking for cafes rather than full restaurants, looking for snacks rather than full meals.
Charlebois says legislation could help some of these businesses. For instance, last year's GST tax break could help if made permanent. That's something that Restaurants Canada says that they would like to see happen as well. Austin?
Okay, CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Kimberly, thank you very much for this.
A new year and fresh prospects for young Canadians looking to enter the workforce.
Well, they're actually frontline operational roles, a lot of them, and they're really focused on human connection and front-facing relationship building.
According to Randstad, the top 5 jobs companies will be looking to fill in 2026 are sales associate, administrative assistant, customer service representative, accounting technician, and receptionist. Nancy D'Onofrio says most of the jobs on the list are entry to mid-level, but with AI, they're evolving.
I think there's a lot of discussion as well that AI is replacing roles, but if you look at these roles that are very human-focused and relationship-based, they're actually elevating these roles.
Healthcare is another area where D'Onofrio says there will be job opportunities in 2026. Nurses, pharmacy technicians, and dental assistants are also in the top 15 most in-demand jobs.
We're obviously seeing a huge shortage in healthcare because there's a lot of retirements that are happening as well.
Perhaps most surprisingly, forklift operator has squeezed into the top 15 this year. D'Onofrio says that's due to the rise of e-commerce and demand on supply chains. Going forward, she expects even more opportunities in logistics and construction.
By 2027, there's going to be a shortage of 172,000 workers.
Most of the jobs on the list pay an average of between $50,000 and $70,000 per year. Economist Moshe Lander says that's a decent starting point for young Canadians, but still low compared to Canada's cost of living.
is that going to get you an affordable cost of living? And most Canadians at 50 to 60,000 are going to say, no, it won't.
That's why he says it's important to look for jobs with opportunities for growth.
If it's merely something to pass the time between 9 and 5 Monday to Friday, it's going to be really hard to get those above inflation wages because your productivity is just going to stagger.
Food for thought for the many young Canadians preparing to enter the job market, nervous about their chances of getting ahead.
A flood of material related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has been released by the U.S. Department of Justice, and even more may be coming. For more on the release and the reactions to it, let's bring in journalist Steve Futterman joining us this morning from Los Angeles. Nice to see you, Steve. Let's talk about what we learned from yesterday's release.
Well, Marianne, depends who you talk to. We didn't really learn that much. Lots of documents were released, but many of them had been released before. Lots of pictures in this initial release. Let's take a look at some of them. There were a number of pictures of Bill Clinton. There's one in a pool, one in a jacuzzi, a number of pictures of Clinton, but also a number of other well-known people, personalities, Prince Andrew, Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. So lots of pictures, and of course, lots of pictures of Jeffrey Epstein. There were some pictures of young women. Most of those were blacked out. However, apparently there were some videos that do show some young women in without being blocked out. So that might be something that comes up a bit later. Now, one of the survivors, Annie Farmer, she was 16 years old when she says she was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. By the way, her sister was also one of the victims. She talked about her disappointment that not all of the documents were released, only a small number of documents. Take a listen.
I don't feel tremendously confident that everything will come out. There's been a lot of effort and money and time put into redactions, not to protect victims, but to protect people in power.
And that's really the general reaction amongst the victims. They're happy that the documents have at least started to come out. Now, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, defended the release. He said this is only a first step. There'll be a lot more documents released. He said the Department of Justice wasn't able to go through all the documents. That, of course, has not been received very well by a number of lawmakers. But that's the situation right now. There will be more documents released, he says, in the weeks ahead by the end of the year.
没有听明白的朋友，可以反复多听几遍，在点点滴滴中提升自己的英文听力。英语听力练习是一场修行。那么今天视频的内容就到这里了，我们下期见。